Hello, in this course we show you how to use two techniques, customer journeys and personas, to help you strategize and define the right API products for your business. In the previous course, we looked at the API product mindset. Digital businesses must learn to have an outside-in mindset, using a customer-focused approach rather than using IT roadmaps to define strategies and promote useful, impactful innovation. Focusing on the user experience is the first step. By thinking outside in, you can capture a good understanding of the user's needs in order to create a positive experience. In this video, we are going to address ways you can capture that understanding by building personas and customer journeys to help define the API products to be built. Customer focus means to understand and have empathy with the customer's opportunities and pain points. Using this insight, determine what a better user experience may be, and then design the APIs that empower developers to build those experiences. This approach allows the organization to innovate around customer challenges, and in doing so, create new experiences rapidly and even discovers new business models and opportunities. Legacy customers who expose their data assets first without the consumer insight oftentimes suffer rework, missed functionality, and may even overcomplicate the use case. In order to focus in on the customer, organizations have to break down the departmental silos that may exist. The customer's experience will cut across the internal divisions of an organization from business, marketing, operations, and IT. So enterprises need to unite technical and business talent into teams that focus on a customer journey and empower these teams to drive business impact. So what is the customer journey? Customer journeys are a series of key interactions between the customer and the company via its representatives or channels. These interactions are typically a sequence of events spurred by a customer motive, like buying a new home appliance or troubleshooting a defective product. Every company will have customers that experience many different types of journeys, and the culmination of all of them is the net impact on the customer's perceived experience with the company. Here's an example of one part of a retail company's customer journey where the customer buys a washing machine. Their journey might look something like this. The customer drives to the store, sees the washing machine, checks prices and consumer reviews, and then later decides to either buy the item online or at the store. Later, the washing machine is delivered to their home. Along this journey, there could be dozens or hundreds of APIs that could play a role. In fact, this journey is so high level that as you focus on any one of the elements, there could be many, many scenarios. Too often, teams take on too large of a scope, and timelines, complexity, risks, and delays begin to compound. To keep the focus narrow, pick a quick win or key moment of truth in the customer's experience. Pretend that you have a spyglass and you need to zoom in on one aspect of this journey. If you don't zoom in enough, the complexity becomes too great. We call this framing the customer journey, which is literally drawing a box around where you want to focus. For our example, we choose the path where the customer has gone online to purchase a washing machine from the retailer's website and is ready to check out. We want to offer the retailer's own branded credit card to the customer so that if she applies and gets approved, it will save her 10% off today's purchase, along with future discounts. This is a perfect moment to build an API for the credit card application. It requires integrating the e-commerce experience with a separate business financial products function of the company. In addition, if the two teams can make the card application process and checkout experience seamless and simple, it will increase the chances of new card openings and improve customer loyalty. Let's use this use case as an example and deep dive. With the right frame of the customer journey, we need to get into more details of what the steps in this microjourney would look like. The best way to map this out is to put yourselves in the shoes of the customer and first create a customer persona. A persona is a short biography of who the user is and gives the context of where they are in the journey. Personas are often used in designing experiences or in marketing, and some can get quite complex with story write-ups, psychographic, and demographic data. The key in this use of the persona is to focus only on the information you need to flesh out the microjourney. This should be a quick exercise taking 20 to 30 minutes. In addition, give your customer persona a name to make it feel real. We'll call our persona Shannon. To further flesh it out, we write down what Shannon's goals are. In this case, it's to buy a product and lower the price. Our business goal, on the other hand, is to get Shannon to sign up for the credit card. Next, we write down the customer journey context, as in where Shannon is in the overall journey and what Shannon has already done. In this case, Shannon has already researched the product and is on the retailer's shopping website, has added it to the cart, and is ready to check out. We need to also establish essential preconditions. Shannon is logged in and is an existing known customer, which is a very important data point. Also useful to the persona is to put key attribute or rules. For example, we only want to trigger this credit card offer if the shopping cart value is above $100. Lastly, we need to put down any potential challenges Shannon might present to us. For example, if the checkout process is too lengthy, she may abandon the application process, or worse yet, she might abandon checkout altogether. With all this information captured, write them out and have it handy to reference. Now that we have the persona and we have the context on where Shannon is in the overall customer journey, we can dive deeper into where the APIs fit in. To map out the detailed journey, it's really critical to have a cross-functional team present. In this case, we want representatives from the business and technical side of the e-commerce team that would be consuming the APIs to be present. We also need the API development team that would be building the credit card APIs. Last but not least, we need the business and back-end systems engineers who would be providing the customer data and credit card application services that the APIs would call upon. A whiteboard is a great tool to begin to map out the customer journey as a team. We start with the persona, Shannon on the left, and with the potential outcomes on the right. There might also be multiple outcomes in this scenario. The goal of the team is to map out the steps in between to connect the left to the right. In addition, there might be edge cases. Focus on the happy path first. Here's what the map might look like when it's filled out. It's important that during this process, the team takes into consideration the desired user experience. We have marked each major interaction with a black numbered hexagon. These are key interactions between Shannon and the company where data is entered and system processing is more intense. The experiences here, like usability, system response time, and personalization, must be optimized for Shannon. Making this map gives everyone in the team a unified and clear picture of the business purpose and mechanics of what the customer experience should be. With the map filled out, the technology folks in the room can start to see where the APIs make sense. It's critical at this stage that the application development team that is consuming the APIs are collaborating in real time with the API developers and backend developers who are producing the APIs. Each brings their own perspective. The app developers want to make the API call simple and probably want to join many types of data into one smaller payload to tailor to what is needed in the UI screen. The API developers, on the other hand, want to make the call standardized and reusable so that another application can use the same credit card application APIs. The backend developers are there to make sure the data and services needed are available and feasible. By marking up the map with where the APIs are, the team can begin to drill down further and agree on the way the data contract should look like. With the APIs identified, it helps to flesh out some details to make sure everyone is thinking along the same lines of the data being exchanged. For each of the APIs, agree on the key specifications of the call. Specify what data values are passed into the API, as well as what response is returned. This part is important as it typically forces the business and application teams to really think through the right data they need to perform the function, as well as the data that is needed to display on the screen. In some cases, it might even make sense to sketch the screen to help the team think through the data elements that are needed. The best part is each participant is thinking in Shannon's shoes and agreeing on the data contract at the same time. Include information about the name of the API, whether it's a GET or a POST, as well as which backend service is targeted by the API. Typically, a cross-functional team together in the same room will make this process go much faster and align all parties on the development approach. Finally, with all three of the APIs specified, it makes sense at this point to think about reusability. All the different APIs individually have various capabilities, but together they support a main business function of enabling a customer to apply and get approved for a new retailer-branded credit card. This API could be used on the retailer's own e-commerce site, but could also be put on a social media page, reused on a marketing microsite, or perhaps on a partner's website. Perhaps the API could be monetized so that other companies will receive a monetary incentive for placing the application on their site, opening up even more revenue possibilities for the retailer. By packaging various functional components together into one API product and describing them in business terms, The APIs are not only easier to understand, but the API itself now becomes a digital asset that the company can broker and share internally or externally, since it is modular enough to be plugged into a variety of scenarios. In addition, the technical specification of the API makes it easy for app developers to understand, pick up, and use in their code. The process we went through, framing the customer journey, mapping out the customer experience, and designing APIs into products, is an iterative process. With each new frame of the journey, new experiences, or different customer personas, the same API product you designed may need to be changed, or a new API product will emerge. Perhaps you need to make new versions with expanded attributes and capabilities to enable more reusability. Companies that successfully operate the APIs as products think about APIs in the same way as they do any of their other products or services. Put the focus on the user. Customer journey and personas are a key element of API design. If you want more information, please check out the community for ebooks, articles, and other related topics.